Flame on! How's everybody doing tonight? And I'm here with my special guest, Taladia Plays. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up, co-host?
And we have two special guests tonight. First of all, making his grand J.He Plays return, Jared from Comic League.
Intro, bro.
Don't tempt me, don't tempt me. Oh, what the heck? I'll do it anyway.
Let me try.
Okay.
Wonderbot.
He's hooked up.
You're mean.
Hey, you're the one who did a Wonder Bat stream today, man. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just doing synergy.
You're mean.
Oh, okay, all jokes aside, welcome to the show, Robert. How you doing?
That was perfect. The timing of that.
They are mean, Robert. They are abusive.
Oh yeah, and Mr. Lois Light is Lois Lame.
Well, she is.
But this is not the stream for that.
No.
Don't worry.
No more. But yeah. But at the end of the day, we're here to celebrate the life and legacy of one of the best to ever do it in the industry, Peter David, acclaimed Young Justice run among many other works. And if I could just ask for a brief moment of silence to pay our respects. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And welcome, Cameron. How you doing?
Yep. Boy, and now I'll say this. What makes this more painful? Perez, we knew it was coming. Perez was in hospice. It was a matter of when, lived long enough, to get some, at least from DC, a farewell tribute. And DC's going to give Peter a proper tribute soon. You know it.
Oh, by the end of the week, if not early next week.
Yeah, whereas Marvel, wash, rinse, repeat that stupid crap.
We'll be lucky to get a social media post from Marvel, let's be honest.
They did. And the funny part is everyone is like, you should not be commenting on this Marvel.
DC at least knew, they were at least smart enough. Now, to be fair, I don't blame whoever runs Marvel social media. They probably had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But,
that's fair, benefit of the doubt, that's fair.
Yeah, but with Peter, you just kept hoping for the best. You kept hoping for something, anything.
Honestly, I saw it coming because every time we got an update on him, it was always he was getting much worse. And
there was that point where he was getting better, and that was just like, oh, thank God. But then it started going down, and I'm like,
it's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah, they got to the point where he had to dictate his books, and the only reason why he stopped after Symbiote, Spider-Man 2099 is because he couldn't even do that.
Mm-hmm.
So true. But we will cover the the actual topic of this video. But in essence, I just want everyone to go around the panel, what stories or at least material that Peter David has worked.
Save me for last.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Basically, anything that Peter David was either directly worked on or was a writing consultant for an adaptation or an episode. What little you recall, just spread our thoughts and respects. Jared, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. So, it's like the obvious answer is like anything Hulk. So that's like the obvious answer in terms of that. I want to check out his Aquaman run. I've heard that's pretty good, but it's really a lot of the like Spider-Man games. Like I think he wrote Shattered Dimensions or the sequel to Shattered Dimensions.
He was a writing consultant for Web of Shadows, I believe. I could be wrong. Holy Toledo!
Did you hear that, Robert? He goes, "Holy Toledo!" Oh yeah, yeah. Jay, it's Robert. Whenever he steps off screen, is to get like he's like a librarian. Robert, you need one of those cards that like librarians use.
He probably has one. Don't tempt him. But anything else you want?
And yeah, like Future Imperfect and all that. But yeah, it's one of those. He's one of those writers where and I was talking to Robert about this when we did, I think, Future Imperfect. It's like the thing about Peter David is that he could always take like humorous stories, but also put a dark turn on them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he had the balance really well. There were some things he put in Future Imperfect that were not that don't hold up well. However,
It's the only bad thing. It's like we said this. Future Imperfect, that just made it a 9.5.
Yeah, it's still good because again, it's like sometimes you have writers that can only do comedy, and then you have writers conversely that can only do dark stories. He was in the middle; he could do both really well and blend the two.
That balance, I cannot emphasize enough how hard that is to get that balance right
Yeah,
in
exactly.
any medium, not just superhero stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the death of Jean Bay. Yep, that's a classic.
Well, yep, and the funny thing is, Jean wasn't much of a character. She was just there, but within the first 2 pages, he gave us a backstory for her before killing her.
And Taladia, would you anything you would want to share?
Adaptations, I would say for me, would be Young Justice.
Well,
Yeah, that counts. That counts as adapting his work.
yep. That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So kind of like from his work would be the Young Justice cartoon show. And that's why I learned about the Young Justice, team was through that. And then I started digging in to see if there was comics.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out there is comics based on this, which was done by
Peter?
by Peter, yeah. So
And here's something else. A show he did. I just shared it.
Okay, we'll check the private chat.
no,
But I think. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Space
Yep,
Cases.
Space Cases.
He did that with Bill Mooney, the young boy from Lost in Space, Will Robinson, and I grew up on this show. It doesn't hold up. It does not hold up, unfortunately, but
For its time, it's pretty good.
there was so much potential. It's what the thing is. There's so much potential. You could tell it was either the writing or Nickelodeon, one or the other, that kept it clashing.
okay, I find that interesting.
Yeah. This is during the peak of Nickelodeon's Nickcoms. The sitcoms they would do.
Okay.
Like Clarissa Explains It All, or
Was
Pete
this
and
a-
Pete.
was
The
this
little
a
90s.
was this a US thing only? Because
Yes. I don't know if it went anywhere beyond that. I never heard about it going anywhere beyond that.
Okay. I just thought to ask because I've never seen it in the UK or if there's episodes online.
Oh, there's hard enough to find them anyway, as it is. Not all of these even got actual releases.
Okay.
Some have, but it's like a lot of begging, a lot of stuff, and yeah, but yeah. Oh, and when I see with Peter David, we shall mention this. Yes, Spidey 2099.
Yes.
That was his creation.
and yet he still didn't get royalties for that damn movie.
No.
Marvel, DC had it set up because why? DC much longer than Marvel was actually run by comic people, as in the presidents were actually people either respecting comic creators or were comic creators.
Well, because at the time when they started the whole royalties thing, Jeanette Kahn came from like books, and it wasn't like she pioneered, at least according to that DC documentary, the whole paying royalties to the creators.
Levitz did that more so than her.
Okay.
Levitz played more of a role in that. Even I have to admit that.
Yeah, but she was open to it at least. And then once he became president, he kept it going, and all the other presidents, the Dio and all that, kept it going because they agreed they deserve it. But Marvel, no, never. They have rarely ever done it. They are more like a screw it, oh, them over. And even with DC, here's the thing: this stuff, at least with DC, you had Warner Brothers in the mix when they came up with all this stuff. This wasn't something they came up with, and Warner Brothers could just negate it. No, they were part of the agreements. So that's why it's been set in stone. Whereas DC, Marvel, yep, even if they did have it, Disney just like, who cares? Or it still ticks me off. You have a lawyer saying we can't give health insurance to David. If we do, it'll set a bad precedent.
It's like then we'll have to give health insurance to everyone.
To which I say, you want to know what you do? Just give it to those who are exclusive. It's not like you have everyone being exclusive.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, because that way you can also give the comic creators an incentive to perform well, so you can give them an exclusive contract.
Now, to be fair, the main reason why I know a lot of creators take it is because it's a paycheck right up front and guaranteed work.
Yeah.
That's the downside with it. They know that. That's why Peter David signed on for the Marvel one. He needed that money up front.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the unfortunate thing, that they were railroaded into that.
But again, it's like when you think of it's like Spider-Man 2099. There is no reason why Peter David didn't get get the royalties he deserved for. It's not like in Spider-Verse 2, Miguel O'Hara was like a major character or anything like that.
Exactly. I mean, okay, I can argue the first movie because it was just a gag at the end.
The first movie was a gag. The second movie, it's not like he was like the antagonist.
Exactly. And then don't get me started on Professor Hulk. And now again, I'm not saying this for fact, but I would not be surprised if, you know, how they got a loophole. Peter David tried to say, hey, that's Professor Hulk. Now, either they could say it's derivative, or they could say, oh no, we're using the Banner Hulk that I just like that his name now. Like Rocket Raccoon creator. Jeez. Bill Mantlo did. And then Mantlo at the stage tried to say, hey, where's the money? Oh, we're using Professor Hulk. I would not be surprised if they do that to cancel it out, because those are similar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, but they probably did derivative. You want to bet that was the default? They just say derivative.
Yeah, probably. I would imagine so.
But yeah, but Miguel, he deserved, because that's not a Peter.
No, it's definitely not. Now, but couldn't they also say
it's a Spider-Man?
Because it's a Spider-Man, it's a derivative?
They could, unfortunately.
Again, this whole royalty system is screwed up, because it's like when Ed Brubaker says he made more from his cameo in The Winter Soldier than he did for creating The Winter Soldier.
Now that's different. That's the case of you getting royalties from the story. He deserves that. There's two different things. You get royalties from characters and royalties from stories. Smart Hulk is very hazy. Can we be honest? Can we all agree on that?
I mean, it's not it would be one thing if Marvel adapted Maestro in some way.
Oh yeah, Maestro.
They did. Avengers game.
Yeah, I think it's the only
labeled Future Imperfect.
He deserved it.
Why bring up Avengers?
No, because that was one of the DLC.
The story was not bad in that game. It was everything else.
It was too Kamala Khan heavy.
That too.
I mean, nothing wrong with having an audience surrogate or an audience POV character, but if it's to the point that they don't really contribute anything to the plot or the core team dynamic, it just becomes bloated. But that's just topic.
Yeah, it's like he was good up until you got everyone else, and then bye-bye.
So for me personally, I think obviously I did not know he worked on 2099.
Yeah.
So I love Spider-Man 2099. So I kind of want to check that out. I think in the future, that's something I want to do. Check out some of Peter David's work on 2099. I also think the Maestro, like you guys have said, it's like that's a character I think it's incredible that pun intended, incredible that to see where Hulk would be if Bruce Banner was not involved in any way, shape, or form. So I find the Mitra interesting. Now, I was wondering, besides Young Justice, any other characters he did work on?
Oh, plenty. And not that though, he also did novels.
Okay.
I mean, fun. I got another image that can show off multiples of them in particular. Yep, there it is. Right here. Down below. Star Trek.
Okay, Star Trek.
You know, a bunch of them. In fact, he's the one who really, through his Imazadi books, got the whole Riker, Worf, Troy love triangle more popularized.
Space, the final frontier.
But yeah, seriously though, but that was another thing. He did New Voyages. That was like a whole new group of characters and everything that people still find beloved.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, again, so much the guy worked on. He has had a finger in everything. And I've said this before. If there was ever a creator in all of Marvel who, more than anyone, universally by all fans would feel he deserved an amazing Spider-Man run, he would have been the best person to do it, but never got it. It was Peter David.
Yep. Yeah.
And we all know it would have been one of the best runs because he's proven it. He proved himself so many times. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Jane the Wolf, all of it. And yet, for whatever reason, they never gave it to him. Ever. He was also one of the writers that made the marriage work.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not that hard to make the marriage work.
Nah, for some it is.
For some it is, but it's like if you actually put in the effort.
Yeah. Again, it's...
it is what it is at the end of the day. It's
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like I said, his Supergirl run was just so amazing.
Mm-hmm. Supergirl was good.
Yep. Now, I will say that if there's a case of... I heard some people say, why didn't he get royalties from Young Justice? He didn't create it.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote most of it, but that was not his concept. So unfortunately also, it never adapted any of his stories. Because let's be honest, Young Justice, the show, is Young Justice technically in name only. They basically used it because they didn't want to use Teen Titans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because there's so much connected to that.
But when I did some digging, I saw like Peter David's like name pop up.
Oh yeah,
on Google.
He wrote most of the issues, Taladia, but he didn't create the concept.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to see if I could find comics that I could.
Oh yeah,
start off on.
It's a Young Justice. Well, that's the other thing though, and that's something again you find out during this era of comics. There really isn't one story to jump in on. It's the whole run.
That's what I keep saying. He contributed to the industry, mostly DC, but to the industry as a whole. If you want to tie one strict work to Peter David, it would have to be his Young Justice run, which ran for over 100 issues. I want to say 135 issues.
Hold on.
I forget the exact number.
Let me look how long it was. It was 100. Oh, nope. It was only 56, dude.
Oh, one of what I'm thinking of.
I don't know. You're thinking about his Hulk.
Oh, okay.
You're thinking of his Hulk run. It's Young Justice was only 56, which includes the 1 million issue.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking of his Hulk run for a second, but
yeah, because I have a strong feeling Young Justice did not last that long. Good as it was.
But I will. But that run was fantastic for what it was. For what was essentially a rebrand Teen Titans, it was good for what it was.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you had so many tie-ins. You had the JLA, World Without Grown-Ups, The Sins of Youth. You know what I mean? Those were actually events. Well, those were the annual, the 5th week events, but still, they count. Because, you know what that's, Jared, you know what the Sins of Youth story was?
What?
All the kids became adults and all the adults became kids, and it caused a lot of problems for Connor.
Didn't they? I thought they did a storyline like that in Young Justice in the show.
Similar in the show version.
Yeah.
similar but not quite the same. In the show version, it was Connor, meeting Luthor and discovering the patches. In the comics, Connor is directly brainwashed by Luthor, and it ends up being a big thing with the.
No, that's the Jeff Johns stuff.
No, what I'm talking about
the age swap where adults become kids and.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was. I think that was at the latter half of Peter David's run.
Yeah. No, that was actually the early part because it was in the first omnibus.
Huh.
Yeah,
okay.
Within the first 19 issues at least. But was that mapped into the show? I think it was.
Somewhat.
Both runs.
What's up, Teddy?
There was only one. There's only one proper run.
Yeah, but different creative teams take over. But I get what he's saying. Both Jeff Johns and Peter David's runs were adapted in the show, at least in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
Elements of it, like Seeker's debut ended up being a Halloween filler episode. The only aspect that didn't carry over into the show was Cassie, but she ended up in the season 2 roster.
Mm-hmm.
But there was this other aspect. No, okay. Yeah, they changed it to where it was. No, wait, was it magic based in the comic too? No, they were just swapped places. A world full of adults, whatever, in a world full of kids. In the comic, it was a literal age reversal, so it was a bit more complex.
And again, Connor was the one who had a lot of issues with that because of how his body worked.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and you had him tie into Our World's at War. You had the World Without Young Justice event.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there was so much. You had this going on. You had the Titans going on. There was so many good runs during this point. Again, you had Peter David Super. I was like, there was just so many of these underrated runs, and I don't think they were big sellers, but DC let them keep going. I mean, would you agree with that, Jay Heat? I don't think these were big hits.
I agree, but this was also when the comic boom and a lot of stuff went down in the 90s. I don't know if the Marvel bankruptcy and the major comic decline of the 90s. I think Peter David. Yeah, I think Peter. Yeah.
Okay, you want to know why Peter David got kicked off Hulk?
Go on.
For the longest time, throughout so much of his run, Marvel, especially the later point of his run, Marvel kept telling him, have Hulk smash, have Hulk go on a rampage, and Peter David's like, that's stupid. No, I'm focusing on the character. Character is what I'm about. That's all he cared about with the character. And then finally, after his first marriage fell apart badly, getting bitter about it, he decided to kill off Betty to lead into another story. But then his editor, Bobby Chase, who had protected Peter throughout all of his run, was stepping down. And then Marvel decided, this is it. This is the perfect opportunity. You can't say no to this. We're going to use it as an excuse to make Hulk go on a rampage. And he's finally like, okay, I quit. And he quit immediately. That very next issue after Betty's death was his last one. And that's the one where he did one of those whole, I'm going to tell you what I had planned retroactively so you'll feel stupid for getting rid of me.
Yeah, that was not a good period in Peter David's life. He was very bitter during that whole ordeal. Yeah, he was bitter.
This was right after he brought the heroes back in Heroes Return. Literally, I'm looking at this. Right after the miniseries, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 issues before he left.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned before you did Supergirl, right?
Yep, I have that in the can right now. I haven't posted it yet.
When did he start that? That's the question.
Around the same time actually as this. It was what date? 98? No, 96. 96 is when it started.
That's when I was born.
96.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Make me feel old.
Yeah, you're making me feel old, Jared. Making me feel real old.
Yeah, I was 11.
Well, you're not as old as Nick, so you're good. You're good.
Yeah, right there, I was 11.
Okay.
I was 11 when you were born.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I said, this was so good. And Britt put it best when you see it, when you go over it. What makes this work is it's not connected to Kara, not connected to Superman. It's Supergirl, but she stands on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes this work so well. And that was the advantage the Matrix Supergirl had. She wasn't a derivative. Well, okay, in the loose sense she was, but she was her own character. Yes, Superman might show up, but she's not trying to be Superman, like be Superman with tits.
For lack of a better term, yeah, because that's kind of for what a lot of Supergirl writers seem to write her as.
Or go the other way. And even before Woman of Tomorrow, the after Jeff Loeb left, you had Joe Kelly try and do that, and he went a bit too far the other way too.
Mm-hmm.
Where he was trying to play it up as just because I have the S doesn't mean people should compare me to him.
Okay.
And in fact, it didn't get good until Sterling Gates got on. That's when that was during the world of the new Krypton stuff.
Now that's something I'm probably gonna have to look into.
New Krypton's good.
Yeah, well, for the most part, yeah. Went way too long. But yeah, again, Peter David, when you got him on a character, that was the thing. He did characters. Yeah, and look at it. It's X Factor as well. It was about the characters. Whenever you looked at his work, he rarely did stuff just for the ooh, ah. He'll give the artist something to draw that's ooh and ah, but he never went into it with that. In fact, I don't think Peter David ever did an event. He might have been assigned one like Marvel DC, but he never actually did an event.
A solo event, you mean?
No, I'm talking about a universe event. Like a crossover event that was actually connected to one of his series. He would do tie-ins to other people's events, but that's not what he worked on. He never thought of it in the big action stuff. Well, no, not the big action, the big... You guys help me find the right way of phrasing it.
It's like a more personal event.
Yeah, like he never would do a crisis event or anything.
Oh, thank God.
Or a crossover event, because that wasn't his wheelhouse.
Yeah, he recognized his limitations. Too many writers have an ego where they're like, oh, I can do it.
Yeah. Again, if he ever did an event, they were within the title. So which would be a multi-parter, of course.
True.
Now, and the other thing about Peter David is he was sometimes also a great writer, but also a workhorse writer. Sometimes get assigned gig. Sometimes he'd take over from people who got booted off, like when he took over Jim Starlin's Dreadstar, which that was a creator-owned book, but Starlin got ousted by the company, and Peter David took over with no animosity to Starlin. And then when Starlin got on, he ignored what Peter David did, and Peter David didn't mind. Now, of course, the one downside with Peter David is you get on his bad side, he's not easy to forgive. Eric Larson.
No, he will let you know if you ever got on Peter David's bad side. He will let you know.
Oh yeah, and then sometimes he gets some stupid stuff like, oh, Savage Dragon's just Hulk with a fin. I'm sorry, that is petty.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of those image artists, when they came over and started their own stuff, their characters were very derivative of what they had been previously working on. Like, I'm sorry, Wildcats looks like the X-Men.
To a point, some of them. No, I would say Youngblood.
Youngblood definitely looks like
that was more the X-Men.
Yeah, that was more of them.
Yep, but yeah, and then of course. Since I brought Supergirl, let's bring up the last arc. Many happy returns. Now, I gotta say though, I just went back over it. There is one downside. I don't think Peter David liked the Silver Age. He completely oversimplifies it and mocks it. Mm-hmm. I don't mean it in a good way at all. He totally treats it like everything's all he smileys at everything, and it's just like everyone's so stupid. And that's why when you have Linda back there, she's all like, "Oh God, everyone's a moron."
So, question for you: did he do any Superman comics?
A few issues here and there, but not really.
I think it was mostly action.
Here's
Yeah.
something he did. The Marvel DC crossover that's included in the
Co-wrote
omnibus
it.
for Amalgam.
He co-wrote that with Ron Mars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So that technically counts as writing Superman because Superman's in it.
And he wrote the Superman Hulk part.
Mm-hmm. Which was a
For
Superman
obvious
Hulk battle.
reason. Yeah, for obvious reason. And he was respectful.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think Superman won that one, right?
Well, he won the vote.
Yeah, well, yeah. And the vote is the only... So, Taladia, for those that don't know, the way the Marvel DC battles worked is that the fans voted on who would win. That's why most of the X-Men characters won, because at that time, the X-Men were like the biggest book.
Oh, yep. And then some were just really too unfair, like Connor or Superboy versus Spider-Man, just because they're clones, really?
Yeah, really stupid. But I'm sorry, Wonder Woman versus Storm. There's no way Storm beats Wonder Woman by just shocking her.
And yeah, that's like,
Unlimited power.
Unlimited. I was about to put that. Unlimited
power.
So somehow Palpatine took out Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He did the Scarlet Spider run. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. That too.
He tried to redeem Ben, and then what did they do? They totally turned it around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They did.
Like I said, I really love this Captain Marvel run, the Genis Val run. This is so underrated.
Mm-hmm.
And the artwork by Criss Cross is amazing.
Oh yeah, the facial expressions in that. I'm like, wow.
Yep. By the way, back to Supergirl. I've told some of this, but you guys know what originally the plan was for this?
What?
No, Jared, look at the cover first. They actually brought in pre-crisis Supergirl. You would have had her. He planned on having, before Jeff Johns did it, had Power Girl, remember she was Earth 2 Supergirl, and then they would have formed their own super version of Birds of Prey called Blonde Justice.
Blonde Justice?
That sounds like a name of a series from the 90s.
But now, I don't blame DC for canceling this, though. You know why? By the time when Didio came on, I've said this before. Didio had mentioned at how he went to a Six Flags, and that was back when they had these billboards that actually had details about it. So you have Superman came from Krypton, all that. But then he looked at Supergirl and said, a protoplasmic girl, blah, blah, blah. And he said, it's got a few words in it, and it was just static in his head. It was like too complicated already to even set it up. Is that like Earthborn Angels, things like that? That was the downside of this version. Too complicated. You couldn't sum her up at all.
Mm-hmm.
Can we agree to that? Like, you
That's fair. That's fair.
Supergirl at that point had more complicated origins than Wonder Woman.
And the worst part is, but I will say this though, they didn't have to totally erase her from canon entirely. Because aside from appearing in Reign in Hell, no one ever touched her. Basically said, "Oh no, it's gone."
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't need a crisis. They just simply said, "Nope, never happened."
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that wasn't right. That was wrong. The reason for ending it were fine. The way they just totally just disregarded everything was not. Now, granted, how can you have a new Supergirl show up and still acknowledge this? Right?
Yeah.
And look at Ed Bennett's artwork here. Look at that.
Yeah, that's Ed Bennis for you.
But good.
Good Ed Bennis.
Not too cheesecakey.
Yeah, that comes later.
Well, yeah, but Ed, you had, get this, a John Romita Sr. cover. Not Junior.
Is that one of the few times he drew DC characters?
Besides a New 52 cover, yeah. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
I've seen
cool.
that.
Nice.
Trying to get it. Yep, there we go. No, wait.
I've seen that. Which one is it? The one on the right or the one on the...
Yeah, that one.
The one on the right.
The one on the flag.
That's cool.
I've seen that one on the internet before. Like,
Yep, that's
TikTok.
Senior. That's one of the few times Senior did non-romance DC comics.
Yeah, until John Romita Sr. is like one of the most legendary Spider-Man artists.
He took over after Ditko. He's the one who gave us Ace the Tiger. You just hit the jackpot. That was him.
Okay.
He's the one who drew it. Yeah.
I
But
guess
but
JD
yeah,
is trying to fix his.
but yeah, it was Young. But if we want to get back to Young Justice, that's the one. Like I said, the one thing about Young Justice is it's hard to summarize it because again, it's one long run, and it's not like nowadays where you could divide it into story arcs or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a series of events. Now, I do remember some moments like Lobo getting turned into a kid. Kid Lobo.
Kobo.
No,
Kobo.
just Kid Lobo. Just
No, I
Kid
know,
Lobo.
but I'm calling him Kobo.
That's a good one. Kevin is asking in the chat. So, did Bruce Timm and his team borrow that design from Peter David?
No.
No, it was already established before that.
Other way around. They changed it to match the anime series. Because let's be honest, comics would not come up with this outfit. I'm sorry. No.
I preferred like the classic compared to the white T-shirt design.
By the way, another example of Peter David being vindictive. After a run that came off after he left Hulk was by Bruce Jones. It had some wonky stuff in it. You know what they did? And to the point where even DC wanted to just undo it. What they do? They have Peter David come in and basically to be, Hulk had been stuck on this island of mist this whole time. And everything from Bruce Jones' run never happened at all.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And he wrote that, and now it's his way to do it because he hated what was done.
That's kind of an a-hole way of doing things.
Now, granted, they also did tell him to reverse a lot of it, but the fact he went that far.
The way he did it, reversing is one thing, but the way he did it was kind of, okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I will give it that. It's just like, ew. But, yeah, and then of course, but yeah, again, back to Young Justice. It's obviously, this is what really gave a lot of character, like, if Chuck Dix is the guy who gave, at the very least, Tim Drake his voice, and Nightwing to a point, but especially more Tim, it was Peter David who gave the better voice to Cassie.
Right, yeah.
Connor, you could argue his own creators already gave him a good voice and all that, but Peter David is the one who made Cassie who she is. Can we all agree to anybody that read it? Can you, like, Jay Heath, would you agree to that?
You mean he's the one that like turned Cassie from the John Byrne version to the version we know now?
No, I won't go that far because that didn't happen until Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns is the one who radically changed her. I'm just the one saying that he's the one who took and still kept it faithful to what Byrne was doing, but actually gave her more of a time to shine and everything. Because he still kept her having the black hair and that ripped shirt, jean jacket and everything. And using the wing shoes, Hermes wing shoes and all that. He still kept that going.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because that was the other thing. He was still, now granted, we already know that Peter David doesn't care for Byrne. They're one of the ones with some of the biggest, heated arguments.
Really?
But when it comes down to Young Justice, I think you're right. I think if you're gonna put a character, put a name a little bit more out there, would be Cassie Sandmark.
Yeah.
For Wonder Girl for sure.
Like
because she wasn't like Cassie wasn't well known.
No.
Like, I know that as facts. It's like Cassie is like nobody really
She was
talked
very
about her.
obscure at the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not many people were talking about it because everything was about Donna Troy and Diana, really.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that and also her introduction was a little obscure, even when John Byrne did it, because John and I could kind of this is one case where I will agree with him. He didn't want her to be the bombshell.
Mm-hmm.
No,
He wanted her to be average. That's
Yeah,
why
he
he hated how writers made her the blonde-haired bombshell sex symbol.
But again, it's like this is what happens when you leave. This is the sad part about corporate comics. It's like if you don't own the characters, as soon as you leave, it's no longer your character.
Exactly. Unfortunately.
But I think when it comes down to him working on Young Justice, I think it was good that to a degree that all the characters that were in the team for Young Justice got their spotlight, and with Peter David working on it, it kind of it kind of showed that his work would shine out there, and people can actually pick up that book and say, oh, so this is this character, or this is this character, or this is this character.
And then you also had Arrowette, and the way she was written was she was a case of the whole. You know how you have those celebrity kids whose parents are trying to live through them? That was her. Her mother was trying to live through her as being a hero, and that's eventually what discouraged her. Not Jay, are we gonna all bring up the someone? It was the Dark Crisis book.
Yeah, we might as well just rip that Band-Aid and get it over with. We might as well.
What the? How much can I swear on this?
Go nuts.
What the fucking hell? I'm sorry. What the hell was up with Megan Fitzmartin going on and trying to just act like she didn't get the character at all? She really did not. Especially have it be Arrowette talking about how, I hated how the pride problem was how the boys took all the attention and we girls did nothing. No, you idiot. You were upset. You hated how your mother forced you into all this, and you were traumatized when you took a life. That's why you left. You didn't leave because of the boys. I absolutely love it when
Robert crashes out. This is so good.
I'm sorry, and I'm saying this from someone who has not read all of that run, but I know enough about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know enough about it to know Vince Martin's work is an insult.
The Mighty Endowed, a joke character, wasn't even a villain.
Now, so we know that he worked on Young Justice, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Was any of it? Did he work on Titans by any chance?
No, he never got the chance to work on Titans.
I will say this, Taladia. The other series that the other character that he wrote that really helped the image of that character was Aquaman. Because let me put it this way, he started what Jeff Johns was able to pick up and run with. What I mean by that is that he started the turning Aquaman into a badass character arc that Arthur went through. And the way Aquaman was back then, he had the hook hand, basically like Justice League Unlimited. It was that type of Aquaman with the long blonde hair and the badass and all that.
Okay, yeah, because I kind of I was wondering if you worked on another character and you just mentioned Aquaman, I'm thinking, I was just about to ask that, was he the dude that gave him the hook hand?
Yeah, that was him.
He's the one who gave Robert, was he the one that gave Aquaman the blue suit?
No, that was before him. That was well before him.
All right. And I know that they have a omnibus out for it that I'm going to try and pick up because I'm a big Aquaman fan anyway.
He got screwed over on that run too.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Right, he didn't even finish his story.
Yeah, the story of Peter David's life.
I just feel though, from what you guys are telling me, there's a lot of books I need to read.
Dude, seriously. Again, his Hulk run alone. But like I said, the big thing was the Dark Crisis story. Like I said, is that it's clear he did not Megan Fitzmartin did not get it and did not understand things at all, not even on a surface level.
I don't think it's about that. I think she just used the tie-in as a comment, as an excuse to vent about all the feedback she was getting. Because her Tim Drake Robin run was okay. It's bad. I'm not going to downplay it. I did a whole Shelf Title Gone Bad series episode on it. It is bad. I will not refute that. Mm-hmm. But there are worse comics out there. I would say the biggest sin of Fitzmartin's Tim Drake Robin is that the creative team was a complete mismatch.
Why Riley? I think because Riley was the only one who was willing to draw it.
Yeah, but his style doesn't really work with Tim Drake. He can get away, they can get away with Harley Quinn, sure, because it's zany. Her books are zany nonsense most of the time.
Yeah.
But for Tim Drake, I mean, the design, the art direction, it was just blah.
And I'm sorry, if you're gonna have a moment where Tim is supposed to deal with something that's salt, why have him force vomit? Why not have him spit on it or something? Why do something as disgusting as force vomit? I don't get that.
No,
I think the best issue in terms of artwork was the filler issue with Bernard's parents. I want to say that was issue 7, issue 8. I don't even think Rosmo even did that one. I think that was a guest artist who did that issue.
And you know why? You want to know why Fitzmartin picked Bernard? Because Bill Willingham created him, and she thought it would tick him off. That is the honest reason. She thought it would tick him off because he's a conservative.
Wow, how unprofessional.
Yeah, because that was creation. I mean, why else, right? She thought, but he didn't care.
Yeah, he
because
was like,
he's not that bad of a conservative.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, okay.
Exactly. It's like he might have been a little annoyed, but not that much. But again, the Dark Crisis thing. Again, the fact that he did this and she did this and did this horrible commentary that again acts like you never read the book. Because if you did, again, Arrowette is a prime example. But also having Batman act like to Tim, oh, this is just a phase. Again, is she thinking that because Dixon was on the books, that's what Dixon would do? You want to bet? You guys want to bet that's what it was? She thought since Dixon was working on Robin and Batman at the time, that's probably why she had him say it.
Yep.
JD, do you agree? Yeah. It's like
he was definitely trying to go for a reaction, and I'm just like, yeah, you could stir the audience into reacting to something, but that doesn't necessarily lead to sales or even a good story. I get it; it's a tie-in; it's relatively self-contained, so it doesn't really amount to much. And Mixoplick having a kid, I mean,
that makes sense.
Yeah, but there are more. But if you wanted an allegory on nostalgia or how. I hate using this example, but Jeff Johns' Infinite Crisis was a commentary on excessive nostalgia.
Yes.
I mean, and how Superboy Prime was the physical antagonist. It's all there.
Made him a whiny bitch.
True, but the commentary was there and got his point across.
Yep.
I love when
until he went overboard.
I love when Linkara is reviewing Infinite Crisis, the voice he picks for Superboy Prime. Yeah, it's like it's a boy going through puberty for the first time, and his voice is cracking constantly. I love it.
He was respectful when he actually then went over it for his event stuff because he's like, okay, he's not that bad, Like, once he went over and he realized that there is a tragedy to Superboy Prime. There really is.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
I mean,
what a disgrace still, too, to totally just dump on. And again, you want to bet, because remember, Mags is the one then who came out then and then tried to dump on Peter and bring up the whole, he's used the racial slur.
Wait. What? I think we're losing the plot a little bit, but I get what you're trying to say, Peter.
I'm trying to go back with Peter, how Mags did that.
Okay.
Yeah, did you not hear about this, Jay?
I've heard of it.
Mags tried to bring up the whole gypsy thing again.
The day after the man died.
Just, no.
Yeah.
No.
And like I said, the gypsy thing, that's one of those slurs that, I'm sorry, you do have some people who you can make an argument. Yeah, people have used it for so long in a non-slur way. It's kind of hard to let it go. Especially when you have so many characters named Gypsy or just, the fact that it's been just around for so long, it's hard to let it go. Sorry, I didn't mean to go downer on that.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's
Just the man deserved better than to have someone bring that up the day after he died, especially when he was suffering for so long.
Exactly. I would say so.
Yeah, but again, with Young Justice, I mean, okay, let's get out of the way. Who here has read even some of it?
I haven't read.
Wait, are we talking about Peter David? Or are we moving on to He Who Shall Not Be Named run?
No, Peter David.
Okay, we're still on Peter David. All right. Yes, I've read it. I've read it from beginning to end.
Yep, and would you agree with what I said earlier? Right? It's hard to summarize because it's just one long story.
Yeah, it's one overarching story over the course of 56 issues. It's really hard to break it apart because I would say the cutoff point is right where Jeff Johns takes over in 99, I want to say.
That's when you had graduation day.
Yep. And then you move on to how Young Justice gets rebranded to a Teen Titans book in the 2003 series.
That's when Jeff did that. Yeah, that's when Jeff took over.
Wait, I thought he took over before that. And
He took over with Teen Titans. Peter David stayed up until that was Judd Winnick who did graduation day.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And that's when that's when you had the bit of Tim and Connor in the closet.
Which, knowing Judd Winnick, especially back then, he only did that because he thought it was funny. Like, this is Judd Winnick we're talking about.
Oh yeah, the guy was on what was that reality show? That early reality show.
I know which one you're talking about. I just can't remember the name.
Hold on. Judd Winnick reality.
It's escaping me right now.
Real World San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a guy who was on the Real World. So of course he's gonna have that kind of weird suit. No, caveat.
No.
What?
Top comment of 2025.
Please tell me you were trying to be funny.
Oh my God, that's good.
If you were trying to be funny, that is the funniest thing you've ever said.
That is the greatest joke ever. My God.
Has nothing to do with Judd, but oh my God. Please, Debbie, please tell me that was a joke. Please tell me that was a joke.
I don't think it's a joke.
God,
I don't think it's a joke, guys. I don't think it's a joke.
Yep, top comment 2025 so far.
Took him right the hell out of nowhere.
Okay.
You gotta clip this. This is clip worthy. Even you have to admit this is clip worthy.
Okay. Before we at this all night, let's move on to Bendis's run.
You know
that was a good one.
Oh, he said it was a joke. Sure.
Okay. Go ahead and claim it. Tabby. We'll let you have this one.
Yeah. Bendis's run. I'll be honest. It's probably one of the better things he did at DC by comparison.
True. True.
There should not be named Young Justice.
His Action Comics run. No, wait. Did he take over Action Comics, or was it just the Superman?
It was all every Superman title.
Okay, thank you. Say what you would. A lot of that was due to mandate and setup for 5G. So I'm not going to fault Voldemort for as much.
No, it wasn't. Most of that was stuff he had it pitched from the beginning.
Wait, I thought the whole identity aspect and the whole pressure. I thought that tied into 5G, but those were his original pitches.
Yes, because he hated it.
Which is hilarious because considering that he really made a name writing Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, but yeah, he thought it was a lie. Because you gotta remember this, Jay Heath. That was over a year before they even started planning for 5G.
True.
So yeah, that had nothing to do with 5G. That was something that was part of his original pitch from the beginning. And Young Justice. And I will give this. Him bringing back Connor, I'm grateful for him for that. No one else seemed to care to do it.
I'm true.
Can we agree? Even Jared, even you have to make that's probably one of the few good things you can give him. He brought back Connor when no one else would. The
I wish
proper
we gave him a
Connor.
better haircut.
But that's the artist's rendition and stuff.
No, but based upon He Must Not Be Named putting Superman in the trunks and making a big deal about it, I can assume that was him pushing because he wants nostalgia.
Even say what you will about the nostalgia bait, but it doesn't change the fact that since New 52, Connor was shelved for 7 years.
A proper Connor, I should say, not a
proper Connor.
Con L.
A proper Connor was shelved for 7 years, but you get what I'm trying to say.
The fact that he actually did keep it being pre-Flashpoint Connor, and that the reason why he was able to hold over because he was it. Now, granted, that doesn't make much sense. Wait a minute, you know what though? I do realize the explanation makes no sense because they got no what's it called, Diamond World or
Gem World with Princess Amethyst.
That got rebooted.
Yeah, so he obviously didn't
it being the
read
same
it.
Haven didn't make any sense.
Well, remember, it's Bendis being Bendis, where if continuity interferes with his stuff, he just ignores it.
If it wasn't for that, that wasn't a bad explanation.
Yeah, because Connor was investigating Cadmus just before Flashpoint, so it made sense.
It's unfortunate because of the New 52 series. Now, granted, that didn't last long, so
you could work around it.
You could say Rebirth undid it.
Yeah.
But still, though, that being the explanation how Connor survived was not a bad one. Again, he brought him back. Wasn't bad. But then you know stuff like trying to name Tim Drake and all that. And the only other good thing that came out of that was in the Wonder line was Dial H. Now, he didn't write that, but that was definitely my favorite of the Wonder Book comics. That I loved. Sam Hunt.
Thank you, Movie Theater King. Welcome to the show.
What's up?
Yep, but and what did you guys think if you read it? Like Jay, what did you think of it?
From what I've read, the nostalgia bait was definitely there, but at least Bendis did what a lot of people have not really committed to doing, and that's actually tried to have Tim rebrand or break the mold, coming to his own sense, being stagnant over the whole sharing the Robin mantle with Damian. So I at least give Voldemort for that. But it just didn't come. First of all, his code name. So only a select few of people can get away with using their literal namesake as their code name, and Tim is not one of them.
No.
That's
Second
like
of all,
saying his superhero name is Wayne Man.
Yep.
And second of all, it's not even a good. The design is a basic stealth suit, and not even a good one because the color is doo-doo brown.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what? You didn't even think?
Now, if there's one character I will say got way too much heat, unfortunately, because of they didn't actually look at the book, was Teen Lantern. Because, yes, she hacked it. If you actually read the book, she made that up. But the fact that people held on to that, because, of course, she said that to impress the other kids, heroes. Obviously, she's going to lie to impress them because she's not even a teen. But here's
I think she's the youngest. I think she's young, like right at 13. Right at 13, if that.
She just turned 13 in Green Lantern.
Yeah, she just turned 13.
Or 12, one of each.
But here's the thing, Robert. I can't blame them for not reading because here's why. Because at this era, you had a lot of new characters coming in saying she's the best at this and she could do all this. So when, as a reader, I read like Young Justice and I see this character bragging about like hacking a Green Lantern thing, I'm not going to pick up the book because I'm like, I don't want to read this crap.
Well, that's true. But then I tried telling people that and they said, nope. They denied it. They probably said I was lying or making it up or shilling for Bendis.
Either way, yeah, and I know you're clearly not, but...
Well, yeah, no. I'm just telling you, I'm like, guys, I didn't find Teen Lantern to be that bad of a character once I actually sat down and read it. I get why you're upset,
she's
but
good
don't
in very small doses, which is why I love the Jeremy Adams Green Lantern Corps, because he's using her very sparingly.
And having her with another kid.
Yeah, exactly.
With Jon Stewart's sister's AI construct. I mean,
which doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'm like,
no, because remember, he still has that uber power he got from the Thorn Run.
Not Starforge. What was it called?
Not the Star Heart.
The Star Heart. Thank you.
No. That's Alan Scott.
Okay.
Whatever it was called.
But Talati, you've been awfully quiet. Had you? Go ahead.
No, I know I've been a bit quiet.
Oh, okay, I thought you had. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I haven't read any of the He Who Must Not Be Named run.
Probably better off. Probably better off.
I advise you not to, Taladia. Trust. Let me put it this way: as a Superman fan, you will hate it.
So
you hate his overall run.
I would not touch it with a 10-foot barge pole. That's the best way to put it.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I personally thought it was weak. It was definitely weak, but I gotta say, if I had to pick that between that and the Dark Crisis thing, give me Bendis any day.
Yeah, I would rather have the Dark Crisis thing than Tom King's Wonder Woman. That's for sure.
Can we get through one stream without bringing that up?
Nah, that's my one obligatory stream. But it's like, but I get it. It's like the problem with Humans Not Be Named is that when he would create characters, he would force them in places where they didn't. Like Naomi on the Justice League.
She was fine on Young Justice.
Keep her there. She had a place there. On the Justice League.
Okay, I will play devil's advocate on this one. For all intents and purposes, Naomi is a tribute character to McDuffie. For all intents and purposes, she was.
But she didn't deserve to get just bumped up the Justice League like that and then be treated like she is so perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So there's the only reason why I have 3 covers of the first issue of that Justice League run is because those were the Zack Snyder's Justice League covers. That's the only reason why I have it, for obvious reasons. Besides that, I was like, I'm done.
I will say Ginny Hex was not a bad character.
Yeah, Ginny. She was all right. I mean, she didn't.
Yeah. Go ahead.
If you had to pick between Jenny Hex and reading an adventure with Crush, who would you pick? Between Jenny Hex and Crush.
Crush.
Thank you.
Yeah, hands down Crush. But I also say this. Ginny's one shot by Max is probably one of the few decent books Max did.
I'll give him that.
But yeah, Crush, I adore it. Crush is definitely one of my favorite new characters still that DC has done.
Arguably the best out of a very mediocre run. Yep. Roundhouse was basically teenage Captain Atom with a bad case of victim mentality. And Jin, I try not to bring Jin too much because I'm sorry. Once you actually take the 4,000-year-old or the whole 4,000-year-old thing in context, it gets very, very awkward, and I do not want to risk any of us getting demonetized.
By the way, did you guys read that Black Adam run where Black Adam was replaced by White Adam?
That was, again, Christopher Priest, like he's doing currently with Marvel now. He's trying to just mock everything.
Yeah, Jay, did you hear we have a white Black Panther now?
And the fact that Joe Quesada actually drew him like that meme image.
Okay,
it's a Marvel
real.
Knights.
It's not fake.
It's Marvel Knights, so it's not canon.
No, it's.
But the very fact that they did it—that's the part where I'm like, oh, Marvel got some cojones on them.
And here's the funny thing: people forget about Christopher Priest's run. It wasn't Reginald Hudlin where Hudlin made him perfect and a Gary Stu. Priest Black Panther was well written, but he was flawed. He could get beaten. He wasn't perfect like some people seem to mistake that for.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but if you actually read that whole issue, it's clear he don't like Storm. He really did not like Storm. Does not like the Storm pairing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I just point that out. Just like, and then it really shows. So he's a guy who wears his feelings on his sleeve and in his writing.
Mm-hmm.
But he's at least able to make it still like you could tell that's what he's doing. Why does he hate Storm? Because he hates the people who want to just pair her up with T'Challa just because they're the big black characters.
Mm-hmm.
He has said that.
Yeah, if you're pairing them just for the sake of being African American, okay, fair enough. But you could still tell an interesting story with them.
Oh yeah, but that's what Hudlin did. Why Hudlin did it? Hudlin made that no secret. He did it because he wanted to wed off the two biggest black characters at Marvel.
Okay, that's a topic for a different stream.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's time for a quick Q&A session. So anything you guys want to talk to us about, it could be DC related, Marvel, DCU, MCU, post Endgame, just whatever you guys want to talk about. We'll do a quick blazing Q&A session and then we'll wrap up. So
the James Bond I was gonna ask the James Bond trailer. You guys see it?
I have.
But it looks good.
It looks so good.
It looks too good, man. Too good.
I would say this. This is the tone and style I want the next movie to be. This quasi-realistic retro-esque, but not full retro.
Yeah,
definitely.
with a younger Bond.
Oh, that too. I'm just talking about the overall setting and tone. That is what I want it to be. This kind of where you can be fun, but not go over the top campy.
Well, Tebby has our first question. How do you feel of Marvel Rivals?
Love it.
Not Marvel Rivals. He's talking about the fighting game.
Oh,
they're making a new. Oh, yeah, I thought that was fake, but okay, they are making a new Marvel fighting game.
by our
Okay,
system.
It's
okay, it's interesting.
PlayStation has the rights, though.
Yeah. As a lowly Xbox player.
Oh, why?
Well, I was planning to get a PS5 anyway, so.
Well, let me put it this way, Robert. Eventually, they'll put it on the PC.
Oh yeah, that's probably that's.
Oh, it's also on Steam too. So
wait,
what? PlayStation has the rights to marketing, but
the marketing. That's okay.
Oh, so it'll be on Steam as well. Okay.
You freaked me out, Taladia.
I mean, technically, if they were going to put it on Steam or something, they would have done it like a big showcase or something.
No. It said right here, launches on PS5, Steam, and Epic.
Yeah, but they would have marketed for. The gaming industry is also in a bit of a situation right now, but
Of course, it was during State of Play. Of course, they're not going to mention the other systems.
No, but they weren't going to. If they were going to market it on Epic or Steam, they would have done that at the Epic showcase or something earlier this week.
Well, okay, but so they got the right to be able to show it off first. That's fine, but that doesn't mean I don't think that was exclusive. That was just simply they paid to get it first.
But I think console wise, it's exclusive to PlayStation. So
no, you just said no. Okay, there's only
console as opposed to PC in terms of like of Xbox versus PlayStation.
Yeah,
okay.
that's.
I'm sorry. Whenever I hear exclusive, I've always gone. That was always just as one thing, and PC would also be this not counted. That's
okay.
That's what I'm used to.
Do you think DC and Marvel should try and join anime games or the new anime trend, or should they stay in the Western theater? You do have to worry about licensing distribution with adaptations, but chasing trends isn't really going to do them any favors, not long term.
No. Eventually, it's a ticking time bomb chasing that.
Now, here's a big question for you guys. The fact that now Marvel seems to be dominating the game sphere over DC.
Well, maybe it's because DC keeps canceling games.
Well, give it time, guys. Give it time because, NetherRealm tend to remember NetherRealm has got one more game in the pot.
But that's just one game, and compared to Marvel, you have this game, you have Rivals, you have the Cosmic Invasion game. Let's
not forget, you also do have the upcoming Rocksteady Batman game.
But that's not going to be for years.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
hold on just right quick before we go back to that. Was it a good idea for DC to bring Connor and Bart back after they were shelved after the New 52 and in the Young Justice book, no less? I would say yes, especially because their most notable roles were in Young Justice.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, technically, Impulse was brought back before Young Justice, but they just brought back in Flash, and Bendis already immediately called dibs.
Yeah, I mean, because Bart's reintroduction rebirth introduction, I should say. I want to say it was at the tail end of Williamson's New 52 run.
Nope. It was right around the time of Flash War.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Then wasn't for a couple more years.
Yeah, but still, about 7 years, Connor and Bart were shelved. The majority of that whole generation, in fact, were shelved from main continuity for like 7 years, 5 to 7, depending.
Not Bart for initially in New 52. Oh boy, that was one of the dumbest things.
Bartor was basically a combination of Booster Gold and Star-Lord, MCU Star-Lord, I should say.
And that was...
Which in concept could work, someone from the future down in their luck trying to make a better name for themselves or give themselves a better life. But the appeal of Booster Gold is that we know he's a screw up. We know he had a fall from grace, and he's relishing heroism for the wrong reasons. But he grows, he matures, he reflects on his man. And then when he becomes, a time-based hero, he has to keep up the facade, not to change anything significant.
That's true. By the way, Tevya, the Black Panther game, to be fair, it was like the Wonder Woman game. We barely knew anything about it by the time it was canceled. So to be fair,
I don't think they even, at least with the Wonder Woman game, they had like a trailer. All they had was Black Panther, the game.
And I'm positive that ended up the same way as Wonder Woman. It was canceled because it was bleeding money. And I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm so tired of seeing people make comments about like, why don't they give it to another studio? That's a legal headache.
Yeah, and then they probably have, it could be using proprietary software that leads to them having to restart production. And the amount of people that say, well, they should restart production, and then I'm like, okay.
Then you delay the game at least 3 years, best case scenario.
But even on that, you then make it virtually impossible for that game to profit because you're just adding on the production costs.
It's the problem with Superman Returns. Look at that. Because like a lot of movies, you add the failed attempts into the production cost. And silence.
Yeah. No, but exactly. It's like, is it disappointing? Yeah, it is. Yeah. But it's not like. It's more complicated. It's both complicated and simple.
Yep. I mean, I'm positive if Warner Brothers, if it wasn't such a mind thing, Warner Brothers would have kept it going if they actually showed progress.
Yeah, if they showed that, because that was the other thing. It's like they recently had to like in November before the Wonder Woman game was canceled, they had to restart production on it.
That would have meant more time and asking for more money. Like I said, a money sink.
Yeah, exactly. And WB is already up until we'll see what happens with Superman. But the point is that currently they're in kind of a monetary situation where they can't afford to constantly like put in more money on something that's not going to come out for like a long time.
Exactly. And that's why, is it a pain in the butt? And I think that's part of the reason why Gunn went to like NetherRealms and other places and say, get started on something. And I think, I bet you Rocksteady is praising the heavens that's what happened, that they need something and they're one of the best people to get it done. Otherwise, I'm positive they would have been shuttered.
They would have been shut down. And the thing is,
if it wasn't for the desperation, they would have been shuttered.
Yeah, they would have been shut down from a gaming perspective, from somebody that knows about the gaming industry, pretty much. Like from a business standpoint, they would have been shut down. The higher ups would have said, "No, you're not continuing. You're done." Yeah, like
if it came out last year before the desperation, shut down.
Yeah, if it
came out when the original was meant to come out, shut down.
One at a time, gentlemen.
All right,
one at a time.
I think they're dead delay.
So I was gonna say, like, from a developer standpoint, it's like if they had that game come out 2022, which was the original date, they would have been, and if bombed, it would have been shut down. The studio would have been shut down immediately. But because the fact that they had so much problem behind the scenes and delays and whatnot, they're lucky. They should count themselves lucky and fortunate they still are capable for making another game. It's the same thing with WB Games Montreal. same thing.
And the legal issues with during the Warner Media Discovery merger didn't do them any favors because a lot of WBD does in house. They hardly ever outsource their gaming division.
Yeah.
Yep. They tried. They
hard-
considered it.
What was that?
They considered it. That's why I said.
Oh yeah, they've considered it multiple times, but it would be cheaper to keep in house.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
would.
But
Go on.
I will say this though. It's just the comic industry is not okay. Comic and gaming, I should say, mostly gaming. But the gaming industry is bleeding right now. Like it truly is. Like from a creative standpoint, from a development standpoint, and say what you will about certain aspects they incorporate in the game or some things they prioritize over others. Take Dragon Age Vanguard for example. That game was atrocious. Poor character option. Character dynamics were god awful, and half the time it would bug. Like I remember playing an early beta. I can't go into too much detail, mind you, because personal exclusivities and all that. But even during the beta, this thing was buggy as all hell, and the final product was not that much better.
And then oh boy, I mean, I follow this one YouTuber, Noah Gervais, and he went off about like a bit neutral tone, but still, he was so going off how all of your decisions over the past few games, because they had to streamline it all, amounted to nothing by this game.
See, the problem that the industry has right now is all their best games are coming out 2026. So you've got GTA 6, you've got the 007 First Light, you've got the Marvel fighting game.
They've had some good games this year, yeah.
You realistically though, there's not much big games though that people are really excited for, like that have been announced. Besides Doom: The Dark Ages and besides
Indiana Jones.
And Indiana
Jones. Doom has the perpetual demographic of edgy teenagers. They're always going to make a profit with Doom. Like, let's be honest.
But
it's like NetherRealm. They're at least going to break even, worst case scenario.
But the thing is, right, the reason why NetherRealm or Eclipse Studio, whatever it's called, are making the MK Collection Legacy Collection
Digital
or whatever.
Eclipse, yeah.
Digital Eclipse, yeah. Thank you. It's basically because they need monetization side of it. WB monetization, they know they need an MK game to tie them over because they pretty much end the support for MK1. So something that can validate that slot now is the MK Legacy Collection, which is going to be for consoles and Switch and whatnot. So go ahead, Robert.
And not that, but I want to bet now, Digital Eclipse, they're really good at this stuff. If you ever seen all their other games, they're really good at getting all that. And obviously they're getting interviews and everything. So this was not a very slapdash product. So they've probably been at this since probably once they already were and made a decision in-house, not publicly, but in-house to start wrapping up MK1. They probably started this late last year. You want to bet?
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because we even saw early leaks like around right at New Year's. We saw some early leaks for
rumors about the remasters or whatever.
But I definitely would. Here's my own question for the chat, for the panel, right quick. Which would you say is more likely, an MK game to hold us over, or an Injustice 3? Because I heard a lot of issues for both.
Likely, it would be Injustice, because I think it's like even like Boone came out and said their next game is not a Mortal Kombat game. So what's the other logical choice?
You need a DC game. You need a DC game out.
I
wish it weren't Injustice, but I'll take what I can get.
Let's be honest, Jared. NetherRealm is fast. They just give them like 2 years or so. Look at the gap between ending MK11 and going into and announcing MK1. It was a small window by the announcement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like NetherRealm tend to promote or market their games for 5 months. So pretty much, if I was in WB shoes right now, and you need a DC game, do Injustice 3. Get that out there. You could do He-Man versus, you could bring He-Man into the.
They don't have the rights to that anymore.
They don't.
No. Dark Horse has them now.
No,
Yeah,
but
they licensed them out a few months ago. Matter of fact.
No,
No,
but
about
I
a year
mean,
ago, yeah.
but what I mean though, from a gaming standpoint though, because the NetherRealm do tend to kind of use their licenses like they did with Spawn, like they did with
Oh,
uh
true.
so they kind of could do that in
In
terms
other
of the,
words, have He-Man as like a DLC character.
yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Which
So the-
yes, because I would love to do a match of He-Man v Wonder Woman. That has to happen.
So
Mhm.
so from a gaming perspective, I think from a DC fan perspective, they need to have an Injustice game sooner rather than later, because if they don't have any other games come out in 20 in 2026 2027, you're kind of going to be in that limbo status where you're going to be in that drought till 2028 2029, and I think a lot of fans are going to be upset. So
Now, I will
well,
say this. People are already saying, oh, this is already killed off Injustice before it was announced, the new Marvel game. I don't think so. As
no.
good as Arc is, they've never been juggernauts with with a lot of their releases.
They haven't.
They've been big releases, yes, but not MK level. So for people already making the assumption that it's going to kill Injustice 3, it ain't.
No, it isn't going to kill Injustice 3, but it's definitely on the level of a competitive level where
Not
for
as much
people,
as Street Fighter.
not much of Street Fighter, but if you think about more Marvel versus Capcom level, like the 4v4 type of thing, if you think about the competitive side of it, a lot of competitive people would be interested in that.
True.
And that, so from a business standpoint, they're going to look at that more so than the casual players. So that's why Marvel have probably said, okay, we need to make this and got to get it out there. Casual players will pick it up anyway. Marvel fans will eat it up, but the competitive players will just be like, yeah, I'm going to be invested in this and I'm going to try it out, and that's what they're going to focus on mainly.
But do you think the anime? Now, here's a big question for all of you guys. Do you
Yeah.
think the anime aesthetic is going to help it or hurt it?
I think it's going to
Could
help.
go either way. Could go either way.
Yeah,
I think
that's what I was thinking.
I think it's going to help it because if you think about it, Marvel Rivals is also like a type of anime type of thing too.
To a point. But the
Yeah, it
aesthetic
has the
is not as
anime
strong,
type style.
But the aesthetic is not as strong compared to this new game.
Yeah, but I think they're going to have English voiceovers soon though, because mind you, it's that even though they had Japanese voiceover in the trailer, they
do that a lot.
So I reckon the English dub type of thing would be like Yuri Lowenthal and maybe Nolan North and all of that to come in.
Well, yeah, because the first trailer for even like Batman Ninja 2 was in Japanese.
Yeah,
they do that a lot. Yeah.
So from gaming perspective, I think it's still good that we're getting a fighting game. Like it's good that we get
fun.
It looks fun and it looks entertaining. And I'm pretty sure for 2026, my wallet's going to be dig deep in.
Oh, yeah.
And my wallet's going to hurt because I'm buying the James Bond game, the Marvel fighting game. I'm not going to pay $80 to $100 for the Marvel fighting game. That's something I'm not doing.
I'll do that for the Bond game, but not for that one.
Yeah, for the Bond
game.
No. For the Bond game,
IO Interactive. They've earned my dollars right off the bat.
Yeah. For IO Interactive, it's a different thing, but for fighting game, it's like you might as well just spend the $60 just to get the game, and then buy the DLC separately.
To be honest, I would do that for an Injustice game, but not for that Marvel game.
I think that because Jared knows, I made the silly mistake of buying Suicide Squad, the Ultimate Edition.
I wanted the game early, and the costumes.
Yeah, and we both made that silly mistake, right? We got the costume.
I still enjoy the game. Stop rolling me in the mistake category.
Well, I made the mistake. You didn't. I made the mistake because it cost me a lot, and unfortunately, with so many buggy mess, there was not much I could do with the content wise. So
it didn't pay itself back. In other words,
yeah, it didn't. It just didn't. It wasn't worth it. So I kind of have to be careful now what I'm gonna buy, what I'm not gonna buy. So I'm kind of being cautious.
By the way,
So that's-
Tepia, not interested in that Silent Hill game, to be honest.
No,
me neither.
It
No.
might be
is-
good. It might be good. I'm going to wait for reviews.
There is one game I think people should be excited for, which is Gears Reloaded. Now that's a game.
Oh, you
Yep.
mean the second remake of Gears of War 1?
Yeah, but it's on
Yes.
PlayStation.
Now, apparently, that's going to be free for people who own that remake.
All right, well, I'm getting a free game then. But I'm like, you couldn't remake 2? Why are you doing this again?
It's I think it's
Yeah.
because, mind you, for PlayStation users, the first time in it. So
No,
for
but
them-
still, it's like, why are you remake? It doesn't make sense.
Wait, did
Money.
Elder Scrolls 4 get remastered recently?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It did.
it's just crazy. But mind you, from a Microsoft stamp, from a Microsoft's money side of it, is they need to make money, and for them to do like okay business with PlayStation, it's like oh well we just give them the one game. I think we're gonna get like I watched a video from a streamer where he says that like each year that goes by we'll get Gears 1 year, then another maybe 2028 we'll get Gears 2 remastered, and then by the time 2030 we'll get Gears 3 reloaded.
If they're willing to play the long game, it's not a bad strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Makes
Mhm.
sense. And then by the time, because you got E-Day as well, so you kind of got that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second. I just looked up. You know what they're not including in the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection? We're not getting Ultimate MK3, the Genesis version, and we're not getting the trilogy.
No.
Nope.
Why are we getting the Genesis version of Ultimate 3? That was the better version.
Your guess is as good.
SNES cut out certain levels.
Your guess is as good as mine on that one.
I just think from like, but what NRS is doing and Digital Eclipse are doing, they're going with the more popular system.
But Genesis was the more popular one of the two.
Wait,
Of Ultimate
Well,
MK3.
oh, okay. I was about to say.
Okay.
At first, I thought we were talking about the Sega Genesis for a second. God, I'm showing my age, aren't I?
I'm talking about the Sega Genesis Ultimate MK3 version was more popular than the SNES because again, the SNES they cut levels and they cut other aspects from it.
I think as well because they're doing the online thing as well to bring that onto the older game system. I think that's why maybe the reason
Okay,
why.
to be fair, they did say it was more on the way, so they might add more to it. It might be just where it stands.
Okay. It's still good though. I still at least for MK fans, at least they got something.
Oh yeah,
compared to
something
nothing.
big. This is gonna be right up there with the Street Fighter Legacy Collection.
It's better than nothing. I'll be honest with you. It's better than them not having anything at all.
Right.
And I mean, they've been like, I mean, one of my friends is an MK content creator, and he's met Ed Boon and all of this stuff. He was like saying as well, like, what MK Legacy Collection? Like, wait, this is crazy, and because he thought Injustice would be the next thing, but I'm just like, they still got. I said to him, we'll probably get Injustice afterwards because they're gonna focus on this and get this out there first. And then, like in a few, maybe by the end of the year, we'll get Injustice 3.
By the way, you know what? One game that's coming up soon that I'm looking forward to. Have you guys ever played the RoboCop Rogue City game?
I've heard of it. I've seen gameplay to it.
Jay Heat?
I have. I've heard of it.
Gameplay of it as well.
Oh, they have this. They're gonna have a new. And I knew this was coming because the Terminator game had DLC. They have an entire spin-off or standalone follow-up called Unfinished Business. It's basically okay, you know what people say Judge Dredd and RoboCop is a ripoff of Judge Dredd?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
It's pretty much RoboCop going to the Dredd adventure movie.
Oh, really?
Going up a big tower.
You mean the new one with Carl Urban?
Yes, it's pretty much RoboCop
dope.
doing that.
That's dope.
It's an Omni Tower, which is more of a Omnicore building, but still it's the similar concept.
Mm-hmm. That's dope.
But still, I still think that in terms of some of the retro characters or legacy characters that get in games, I think it's really cool that we're getting that. I mean, Predator Hunting Grounds, that was a really good game. I used to play that back in the day, and that
The
was
thing I
one.
love about sorry,
I was
go
going to say
ahead, you're finished.
Predator Hunting Grounds.
Mhm.
It's like you get to be the Predator, you know, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's in the game, and all of that. And it's just like, I'm just like, I get to play that with my friends. It's just great. It was so cool.
I love that the fact that it's Taeyon. Talk about a developer that came from rock bottom with the Rambo game, then crawled his way up to being one of the most beloved AA game developers. Thanks to both Terminator and RoboCop.
I'm telling you.
You guys know what I'm talking about, right? That horrible a Rambo game that people hated so much. He's a man, not a god, and all that. That was them. And then they did Terminator and now RoboCop. And people are saying, give them something else from the 80s to do. Give them Predator. Give them something. These guys deserve these type of throwbacks.
So, Jay, is there anything we want to add, or?
Just one more thing. What would your predictions be for Injustice 3? Because in terms of the story, because there's not a whole lot you can do at this point except
on that. I think they finally like redeem, or if this is the last game, they redeem or kill off Superman.
Yep.
I think a redemption arc. To be honest,
a redemption. But like when you and I went over, Jared, a redemption, but still being brought down, as in you're like losing his abilities or something,
or like have him make the sacrifice place. You could kind of say ultimately in the end he may have been evil, but he was still trying to protect the world.
Yes, that I think is the best they can do. Now here's the big question I ask for all of you guys: which do you think they're either going to pick an ending, or do you think they're going to amalgamate the endings?
I think they'll amalgamate it.
Amalgamate it. There's
combination of the two, because the Brainiac Superman ending is too bleak, and Masters of the Universe, you're already going to have an issue with licensing. You could probably get He-Man and all them as guest character slots for DLC packs, but incorporating it into the story,
I don't think that comic's going to be canon anyway. I don't think that comic's going to be considered canon by NetherRealms anyway.
The reason I say that is because with Kevin Conroy's passing, and you would likely have to get Bruce Greenwood to do the voiceover.
Or Roger Craig Smith.
Yeah.
True.
What they'll probably do is have the story be there's a threat that shows up, maybe the Anti-Monitor, maybe whoever, and then they have to get Superman out of the Phantom Zone.
And reset. And that's how they reset the universe. Because this could be
Crisis.
It'd be the Crisis it'd be their version of Crisis, and this resets the universe. And on top of that, then this can classify, So think about how MK11 ended. Mm-hmm. It'd be like that. It'd be
when they reboot everything, and then the post-credit scene is Clark waking up to hearing Lois and the baby's heartbeat. That way it goes full circle.
That would be perfect.
That way it goes full circle.
I'm surprised you're suggesting that, Jared.
No, I mean it goes full circle.
Yeah, that is great.
He's surprised by it.
And then it's like it's like, and then it leaves the question: is it a time loop where the events still happen, but it goes backwards, or is it just like now the hope is they can finally do right?
I think it'll be that. I gotta say, we all agree this has to be a finale. This cannot.
No.
A trilogy is a good place to end it.
A trilogy should be. This should be the best way to end the trilogy.
Oh no! I just realized.
And then after the
you can't anymore. I mean, you can't do no more than this. You already got Kevin. You already got production issues. You already got Kevin Conroy's tragic passing. Even with the majority of the DCU cast coming back, it's just.
I just realized something. Story DLC.
No.
Anti-Monitor.
No. I'm saying they're known for doing this. What if they try to do another MK1 where they say, "Oh, it's not going to end here. It's going to keep going."
As DLC.
No, but the thing is though, Robert, from from a DC standpoint, they need to have something. So like this is the way
Oh,
that you do it. Like the crisis event happens, then like the prologue that can lead into the next universe, so
True.
to say. So
That's
that
true.
because then they can say, oh, the game has been rebooted, and that's how.
And that way, if they want to do another game in that new world, they can. But the
Mhm.
Injustice story is concluded.
Now, I want to say
Exactly.
this. I personally feel NetherRealm's going to want to end it too, so they don't have this hanging over their heads.
Yeah, because
case
how
they
many
get sold
times have
off.
people asked them about Injustice 3?
But not just that, in case they get sold off.
Mm-hmm.
True.
I think they're.
True.
I'm saying I think NetherRealm's going to want to end it, just in the off chance they get sold off, and at least they'll be able to say, not have that. What if?
Burden on them.
I'm not going to say they're going to burn, torch the franchise and run. Of course, I'm just saying they want to let's end it on our terms.
I think they'll do 2 Injustice because they did 2 MKs.
Yeah.
So I think they'll do 2 Injustice games back
So it's
to
going to be a
back.
3 and 4.
No, so it'll be Injustice
cameo.
3.
Invisible cameos. Guest characters.
So they'll do Injustice 3, right?
Mhm.
Then
Right.
after the Injustice 3, they reboot it and be like,
And
Interesting.
then that's the new universe.
and that's the universe. right?
And then they can leave that open for if someone else wants to do it or if they do it again.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah.
Obviously, this world. They
I would
have
rather
to end it.
honestly I would honestly rather just have 3 Taladia, because that way they're not because they would technically be starting another story. So in the event that they don't do anymore, they would still have that hanging over their heads.
Not only that,
That-
but the name was synonymous with it. What's going to be the injustice in this new world?
Yeah.
It's Batman this time that goes evil.
Oh no! Don't give him that idea, Jared.
That would be
Jared.
kind of cool.
They'll
Batman
never
goes
do
into
it.
the DC
They'll never
universe.
do it.
Boone would
I'll
never
never do
do it.
Yeah,
Ed Boon will never
because
do
we
it.
all know that's why that Batman's the clear good guy in Injustice.
That's why, and again, I don't blame Taylor for this. I'm positive that was a Boone suggestion of having or at least an influence of having Batman get mad that Superman's killing parademons.
Yeah.
But I will say this: the DLC guest characters, I would say one slot would be MK because that's the pattern with NetherRealm.
Yep.
But if they do get the license, which they technically did for MK1, or pay the licensing fee, I should say, definitely at least one invincible character slot. Let it be marked this go around.
Oh yeah.
I got one. Red Sonja.
Ooh, did they have Conan?
Mm-hmm.
And they can
True.
get what's the actress's name?
You can have Wonder Woman versus Red Sonja.
Bridget Nielsen. They get Bridget Nielsen back.
Mm-hmm.
What about Crime Syndicate game? Cameron does.
No.
No, there's no market for that. The closest you'll ever get is Crisis on Two Earths.
No.
That's just
No. Lego DC supervillains.
But it's still
Yeah, but that was an ensemble game.
It's
No, I'm joking.
It's not a Crime Syndicate itself game.
It was a
Yeah.
Forever Evil inspired.
No,
game.
we're not gonna do Batman Who Laughs, Tevia.
And that's gonna be another skin. That's gonna be a skin again.
That's gonna be a
Yeah.
skin, but
Yeah.
Now, Jay is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is a good place to call it. This was a great discussion. Wait, Cameron says, can they have Kratos DLC?
Ooh.
He would have to be PlayStation exclusive because that's just how they are with God of War. The only way you'll get Kratos DLC if he's PlayStation exclusive. That's the only way you're going to get that cameo.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do you think they're gonna put Arnold in another guest character?
What other characters?
I would-
What-
They do Master Freeze and he's a skin.
Oh, okay. If that was the case, I'd love that. I would love that because
And it's actually voiced by Arnold.
No, Arnold's not gonna do it. If he hasn't done it 2 times already, he ain't doing it this time. But seriously, they've done the movie skins. Look what they did with the MK actors.
Robert.
I hope they do.
Ew.
I hope they do it better than they did with Justice League, because Superman and Cyborg were just the S and and Cyborg's canon. That's it.
Wait, what'd you say, Jay?
Chill.
Chill.
Oh, God. Batman and Robin was god awful.
It was. I'll be honest. I can't believe as a kid I was excited for that movie when I saw the trailer. Mostly because you know why? You know why? I had just read Nightfall. I'm like, Bane's in this, Bane's in this. And I was around 11, 10, 11.
Little
I
do
was an
you
idiot.
know.
I was an idiot.
That's
So-
not Bane.
Oh, to be young.
Yes.
But I feel-
I'm in my 40s.
But I feel like that's a good place to call it, gentlemen. This was great. This was. Oh, I forgot to mention this was my 300 subscriber special. I just now brought that up.
There's how we can get you to 400 and then 500 and 600 and then 1,000.
He's Jared. He's still got to do the Gotham Knights final finale or something like that episode. He's got to react to it.
Yeah.
We all know
And
it's
we're
crap.
talking about the show.
I'll probably just pre-record it because we all know it's going to be crap. I mean, I watched up until the finale.
Gotham?
Huh?
You talking about Gotham?
Yeah.
Gotham Knights.
Oh,
Gotham Knights.
There you go.
Okay, I like the end of the game. I just did not. Again, that game just.
It's the
No,
show.
we're not
We're
talking about
talking-
the game.
TV
We're
show.
talking about the CW show.
Oh, the show.
You know, when Carrie Kelly
I
told Robin because
forgot.
Batman called her his little Robin.
I forgot about that. I never
That's
even
why-
saw one.
I already did Velma, Tevia. YouTube blocked me.
Or
That's
how
why any
about,
reaction.
like where the bat suit is a tuxedo with a bat mask.
Oh my god!
This is
I
what
forgot.
Jay Heat's gonna react to because he promised us that.
Jade, I'm sorry.
Hey, I already did. I did the reaction. I just didn't do the last episode. And by the way, Tevia, I did do Velma. YouTube just blocked me.
No.
So any reactions I do have to be exclusively on Twitch. Any reactions I do have to do exclusively on Twitch, unless I edit the footage.
Yeah, I can help you with that.
Mm-hmm.
But oh man, okay. Thank you so much for getting me to 300 subscribers, everybody. It's a pleasure. It's been an honor and a privilege. And just thank you for all and coming on to the show. I really appreciate it. And
I gotta say one thing though.
sure.
May the force be with you. Wonder Max.
Ah.
Let me try.
Okay.
Wonderbot.
You've been waiting on that one, Teladia, haven't
Thank
you?
you guys.
You opened Pandora's box and you did Wonderbat UTC, man. You had to know this was gonna happen.
Yeah. And this is the 300 special, so
Bags.
All in good fun. All right. Who wants? All right. We'll do outros and then we'll wrap up. Jared, you've been a good sport for all this, so you can go first.
Thank you. So you can find me at Comics League. Britt and I are comparing Super Wonder to Nightfire this week, and I have Wonder Woman Wednesday up where I talk about Wonder Woman's relationship to the gods. We got CLD tomorrow, and then for movie night we're covering the animated Watchmen movie. But anyway, congratulations on 300 subscribers, Shahid.
Thank you. And quick plug on that. We're Heroes in New Direction vs. Heroes in Crisis is in the works. The manuscript is finished, so stay tuned for an official announcement within the next few days. All right, just want to go ahead and wrap that up. Teladia, you want to go next?
let Robert go first because he's the guest. I know.
Okay, Robert.
Yep, you can see the link probably down below. I'm wrapping up Blackest Night week starting tomorrow. I have a couple of videos in the can, including one with Britt, where we go over going over Peter David's Supergirl run.
Nice.
Had a lot of fun with that one.
Teladia.
You guys can check me out on YouTube at Teladia Plays and at Teladia Plays _ on X. What I got coming up on my channel is I will be doing a Injustice video talking about Injustice 3 and what the potential of that being announced. You know, I'll be making a video on that. I've just uploaded my reaction to Marvel's Fighting Soul. You know, you gotta check that reaction out. And I've just done a stream with Jared as we go over Absolute Batman and Absolute Superman issues 6 and 7 yesterday, so you gotta check that out. and I will be doing an interview with Siobhan soon, as we're going to be talking about, interviewing her and finding a lot more about her. So stay tuned for that.
Nice. As for me, you can find me at jheatblaze or jheat75. As I mentioned, I'm collaborating with Jared on New Direction Verse again for Heroes in Crisis, so that's in the works. Also, I do retrospectives, video games, anime, manga, and I also have, you know what? To be determined.
TBD.
But with that being said, thank you so much. Hold on, is somebody lagging?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Flame off.